I'm getting ready to paint this door jamb. I put the masking tape up over that, cut it with a nice sharp razor blade. That's my 20-minute label, 20-minute rated label for the door jamb, because this is a 1-hour rated wall. And remember, the door was a 20-minute rated door. Whenever you get ready to install a door between a garage and your condo, apartment, a duplex, house, whatever it is, it's got to be a 20-minute rated door and frame, and you'll know it by the labels. There's a label there, and I was painting this door here. My label is right there. You can't really see it because I've got masking tape over it. And sometimes I see people paint over there, but you shouldn't really do that because there's a stamp on there that signifies where it was milled, which door it was, and how it was built, and all that kind of stuff. And so, see, when I get ready to paint the door frame, I just put the masking tape all around it, nice and clean. And then I got my craft paper here, and I didn't want to cut any, so I just folded it over where I needed it, and I'm just going to leave it like that. You know, and I can move it back and forth just to protect the new vinyl floor planking that we installed. If you get a drip on that, you could actually wipe it off and stuff. Same with the concrete, but this is just a little bit added. In fact, when I was painting the door casing, when I was cutting in the walls down to the top of the baseboards in here before we installed the flooring, or after, what was it? What did I do? I had to pull this along and paint the trim. Oh, because I didn't have enough time to paint the trim before we put the flooring down. That's what it was. Because I was working upstairs getting ready for the carpet, and I thought, oh, I can paint over the vinyl flooring. In fact, I did most of that. I showed you how to do that with the paintbrush, cutting in the baseboards and painting the baseboards to the bottom of the wall, paint down to the top of the baseboards. I showed you how to do that even without having craft paper down on the floor. I don't think I got any drips on there, but hey, just for precautions, get yourself set up like this. I'm not gonna show you how to paint this actual door jamb, but I am going to use this little 2-inch. Isn't that cute? And it's the angled one. See, you can tell that it's on an angle. And it costs about $8 or so. Wooster Pro. Got it at the Home Depot. Most places have them. Okay, I'm going to use that for my cutting in and painting that whole door jamb. And I show you how to paint a door frame on a previous episode. It's kind of tricky to set up the camera and do all that kind of stuff on these, and I showed you how to do that. But see, on this one here, I only have to paint to this edge, because when I was smart when I got ready to paint all the walls and the door frames on the inside of the condo, I painted the door frames before I cut in the walls. What did I do? I think I painted the walls first and left a little small area around that and the ceilings and stuff. Then I came back, painted the door frames, okay? And that way I didn't have to cut in the white paint to the gray, and got a little bit of white sloppage on the wall. And then when I cut in the wall to the door frame, I cut that in because that was easier to cut in the drywall to here rather than cut in this little edge all the way down. You see what I'm saying? And so when I did the garage door frame, I did the same thing. Well, I just painted up to here because I knew I was going to be painting the whole door and frame later. Okay, so I've already painted this edge. Same thing over here later on down the road. I'm gonna paint this, and I'm gonna paint the side of the door jamb. You know, just up to there. I'm gonna take the weather stripping off, paint that little section. But at least I know I don't have to paint this from this edge to the wall because I've already done that over to there. So it makes it easier for me to finish up this. And I also went the extra effort before I painted these door frames to caulk the tops. You'd be surprised. Lots of door frames, the painters don't caulk the top, and you'll generally, half door frames that I looked at, maybe 3/4, they always have a hole up there where they didn't caulk it. Nobody's ever going to see that. We don't have to do that. What do we have to do that for? Well, there's a couple reasons why you should do that. Is to prevent any air from coming up under the floor, because there's a crawl space underneath this floor, and for it to come out into your house in the winter, in the summer, and also every once in a while, if you get ants or something, they want to get up into your house. Lots of times I'll see ant trails at the top of doors. Son of a gun, it's because somebody didn't caulk the top. Now granted, you're still going to have ants inside the wall if you have it down underneath the floor or something like that, but at least you're not going to get them coming up and out. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but because if you see the ants coming out, you can treat it, and with some ant baits that they'll eat and take right back to the ant colony, then you can caulk the tops after the fact. But you know, that's only if you're before you get ready to paint or something. But I wanted to get this all done. I caulked the top of everything, okay, before I painted the walls, or before I painted the door jambs. I can caulk that after I paint the walls, because usually I'll paint the walls first and leave the little line around the doors, around the ceilings and all that. Then you can come back, caulk that before you cut in your door frames and that kind of thing. Okay, so that's what I'm getting ready to do, and you can follow on a previous episode where I painted all of the doors to the condo and the door frames and all that kind of stuff, and you'll pick up some tips along the way. But you know, when you paint, I'm not going to show you. I'm going to just talk a little bit more. When you paint, if you're going to use a paintbrush, and see, there's really no other way to do door frames, because you got all the nooks and crannies and the edges and stuff. There's no way I could paint this thing with a roller, a mini roller, could I? None whatsoever. Even if I try to paint all the ridges with a paintbrush, then come back and try to just hit the roller here, just hit the roller here, and then going all the way down, it's just virtually impossible. You know what I mean? And so I don't normally do with the roller. Okay. I could maybe hit this wide section with the roller after I do the paintbrush and cut in at the top, and have this the last section or something, after I cut in from the bottom up maybe an inch and the top down and all that. But see, usually when I paint a door frame, there's so many different layers and edges that you get. It's like, where do I stop? And where do I start, and how am I going to get this done? How am I going to get it all even? Because all your door frames are done with semi-gloss paint generally, and it's hard to get a good flow on there. And you don't want to, once you start painting an edge, like this edge here, you don't want to stop and do everything else down to there and then go from there down, because then it's hard to blend in wherever you stop. So usually whenever I start, I like to end. So like on a door frame, I'll first go around and paint that inside edge, because that's kind of tricky to get. And I get that, then I can taper out the edges, you know, that one edge. Do that around the door casing. Then I can concentrate on getting the casing from here over to there. I may have to do that in 2 or 3 dips of paint, but then when I get all done, I can start from there and wipe all the way, and then get that all the way. Do you see what I'm saying? Then I could do the sides. There, we'll show you this one here, because this is how your door frame is going to look. No hinges, no strike plate, no strike plates, no nothing. Okay, hit that, all these edges first. Okay, this edge here. Then I'll hit this all the way. Then I'll do the casing, just the casing, from there down, all the way down. And then I can blend as I go, because if I got my wet paint to there, then I can start from there and go down further. And then I can blend in the last little bit, okay? Then I can keep going. And then once I do that, then I have to decide, okay, what am I gonna do? Then I'll do this one. Just this edge, all the way across. And then on down. Do you see what I mean? There's always something you got to figure on. Okay, where do I start and where do I start? Especially on interior doors. See, once I do the casings all the way down, then I'll do maybe this edge. But before I do this edge, I have to hit the edge of this doorstop. Do you see what I'm saying? And then I can taper on that top bit. And so I can do the edge of the doorstop. And then once I hit the edge of the doorstop, then I'll finish this edge from here to there. Okay? And then I'll do the edge of the doorstop all the way down. And then I can kind of taper any overage. Then I can then I'll hit this edge, this flat edge here, boom, all the way down. And I'll do the same thing over there. The same way. Hit the edge first, then this one all the way across. That way once I get all this across, then I can go all the way with my paintbrush. You see what I'm saying? And the same thing down here. And then I'll leave the face of this doorstop last. And trying to be careful not to get my paintbrush hitting over here or over there. Then I can just do this top by going sideways or whatever I have to do. You know what I mean? On that. And then this edge will be done last. Boom, all the way down. All the way down after everything else gets painted. You see what I'm saying? Well, this is an exterior jamb, because see how fat it is? And it's like that because this particular one's rated. On the exterior doors, they're like this too, because you don't need a little doorstop like you do on the interior. Right? So I'll still hit this edge first, then this, then this edge all the way down the casing, this edge all the way down the casing, and then I can hit just this bit all the way across, then this bit right here all the way down. Then I can do this last, because see, I'll come out here, hit the top, or hit this edge first, then the top, then this edge, then the side, then this edge, right in through there, then that. Because see, as I'm hitting that, I don't have to cut it in. I can quickly do it. Any overage on here, I can lightly get off. You see what I'm saying? And once I get all that done, this is going to be my last bit that I'm going to do. This wide bit. So then I'll hit, you know, from here to there. And then this one. And then this one. And that's kind of how you have to do it. You don't really want to get caught up trying to think, oh, forget that business. I'm gonna paint the whole top of the door. First, I'm gonna hit this, the doorstop, this edge, the trim, boom, and then I'm gonna work my way down. Don't do that, because your paint is gonna start drying and get thick, and then you'll see when you start going, you're gonna be like, okay, how thick do I need to put it, and how am I gonna do the transitions? Because now you can't do the transitions all the way because your paint's going to already start drying up and skinning up on your semi-gloss paint. Trust me. And then as you're painting, your paint gets thicker as you go in your paint tray or wherever you're painting from. Do you see what I mean? And so you just really have to think about what you're doing and go for it. Now see, because this one's so wide, like I say, when I do this one last, I might get this edge cut in and that edge and do the rest with the mini roller. Maybe, I don't know. And this, and then with the mini roller. But I think once I start with the paintbrush, I'll get good at it. And then you just kind of brush it down as you go. And this one will already be wet. I probably won't want to get into my mini roller, but I don't know. Maybe I will for this particular exterior door frame, just for this. But then I'm going to get an edge on this, I'm going to get an edge on that, and then I'll have to wipe that off, wipe this off carefully without hitting this with my roller and stuff. So I'll probably end up doing it all with the paintbrush, okay? Try one of these little 2-inch like this. They're pretty handy, and if you want, you can go with the 2.5. See, I got a 2.5-inch brush, and I used that yesterday, and I could use that too in a pinch if I wanted instead of this one. But this little one I think gives you a little bit more control, and you'll get used to it after a while when you get working on there, because sometimes as you're painting, you're gonna use this edge, or you're gonna use the flat. See, when I do like interior door frames like this edge here, instead of going like that and getting this paintbrush over this, I might get it on there and then flatten it out that way, and then I can do that whole edge, you see? As opposed to like that. You'll just have to try and see which way you like it better. But like when I'm doing that, I'm not gonna do that at the end. I'm gonna get it on there, and then I'm gonna put it on there like that, and I can do it sideways, see? And get it all there and go. Instead of like that, and get this edge of the paintbrush on this that's already been painted, or this side, you know. So there's different ways. There's different ways to get on there. Because see, on this one, I probably may not finish it like that because it's not going to get all the way in there. But I can start the paint that way and then finish it, you know, going this direction. So you just try different ways, and you'll get it. But I'll tell you what, applying semi-gloss paint with a paintbrush is very, very difficult to do, and get it nice and smooth and finished. I tried my best. I tried my best to do this. How wide this is on window stools and stuff. It's virtually impossible to get something like this done with semi-gloss and a paintbrush without showing the lines and getting that nice and even flow and all that kind of stuff. I tried it the first time, and I thought, I can't live with that. I'm not messing with that. And so what I ended up doing, I cut in up at the top with the paintbrush, okay, until where I couldn't get it, where I knew I couldn't get my paint roller, because I could only get my paint roller up to about in here. In fact, you might be able to see the line. I didn't want to go up any further, so I cut in all this other stuff with the paintbrush, and obviously all this down here was the paintbrush, and then you can run this up this way. But then this whole top surface I did with the mini roller. Oh man, that with the 1/4-inch mini roller, that worked out really good. And no lines on here, and I thought, wow, that worked out really good. I'm going to do it up here too. And so I ran the top of this after I cut all this in with the paintbrush, cut in the edge. Then I ran with the mini roller close to the wall, because see, with the mini roller, there's no way you're going to get it all the way up there. And in fact, you can see just hardly a line, but a little bit, because I could only get the mini roller so close to the wall. And then this I ran with the mini roller. It wasn't that hard to do either, and I did the same thing with my window stools. I tried the window stools, and I thought, well, we're going to put these blinds, these shutters up here, the, what do you call them? These types of shutters. Anyways, most of the window stool you don't see, but you know, I wanted to get it really nice and painted back there anyways. I tried twice with the paintbrush, a 2.5-inch paintbrush, and it's really tricky. So I cut it all in around the edges and up next to the window, and I ran my mini roller. It didn't take me very long to run the mini roller. In fact, I had to do it after the carpet was installed. And I did that to that set of windows and that set of windows with the mini roller. And this carpet was down when I did the mini roller on this too, because I had no choice at that point. But that's, you know, sometimes there's a time to use a mini roller and there's a time not to use a mini roller. Time to use a paintbrush and a time not to use a paintbrush. You see what I mean? And you'll learn all this stuff when you get going on painting and all that kind of stuff. Oh, here's my supervisor. I'm going to have to watch her because I've got open paint. That open paint tray's got paint in it. So I bet I'm going to be using that here in a minute. But if you got any dogs or cats around and stuff, see, she kind of roams around. I could lock her up in a bedroom or something while I'm painting, but so I can put this cover over the top of that, make sure she doesn't step in it. That's the only wet paint that's in here is in that little paint tray. But I'll be painting here in a minute. Okay, so that's all I'm really going to tell you about painting this door jamb. I'll show you what this door jamb looks like when I get done. Now there's a reason why I use 3-foot wide craft paper. That way most of my paint stays on there. But you always got to kind of keep aware. And I didn't pay attention too much the other day because I spilled just a little bit of paint, not very much, a couple little specks and stuff, and I could have gotten that off with just a sponge with the scouring side on there. But you know, a day later I thought, oh, I'll just take some simple green, spray on there, and I even took my wire brush. I'll show you. Well, I sprayed some of this on there and trying to take my wire brush on there. Sometimes it'll come off. Okay, sometimes it won't. And the stuff that won't, I thought how am I going to get that off? And I just had a 100 grit sandpaper, just a little piece, and I thought, hey, I'll try that. I'll try that. See. There's that big glob right there. That would take me a while to get off, and I had lots of stuff on this before we moved in. There was some old marks on this concrete floor and stuff. I spent hours cleaning and scrubbing with a scrub brush with the Brillo side, and I had 2 different wire brushes, and slowly but surely I got all my stuff. But I should have tried the sandpaper, because here, I'll just spray, just get this wet. I need to get some more simple green in here because it's running out. But you'll see that I got all that stuff off just using some sandpaper. And that was, just using that sandpaper, little piece, did the trick. I thought, hey, every once in a while, if I come up with a tip that I want to share, maybe it'll help you next time on your project. You know, when I get done doing all this painting, I don't want any paint drops on my concrete or anything. In fact, later on, I'm going to end up painting this whole garage. I don't know exactly if I'm going to paint the ceiling flat white or semi-gloss white. I might paint it semi-gloss white. And the walls, instead of white on the walls, I may use the same color that we used in here. You know, the gray. I'll just have to see which paint I have left. And do you know, when I get done, you're not going to see any paint on here. I'm gonna put craft paper down, and then if I get any little droplets of stuff, I'll clean it all up, sweep it all out, and it will look like I was never there. That's how you like it.